at hand than further out. The share seems to have just sped right up. So I'm just going to start again with general energy and kind of move into, and I'll do other reads here for the month of January because I think there's different angles, different takes on things where you might be dealing with, more than one area of your life that's impacted. I think there's different stories week to week, that kind of thing, different challenges that you'll have to meet. But either way, it's whatever timeline it sort of falls on, and maybe a little further along the journey than others. So again, this is just a general read. So we're starting off with the Eight of Pentacles. So it looks like in the month of January, you're still hard at work here. You're still really committed to, getting things done. And you're just kind of gradually, working at whatever it is that's important to you at this time. I feel like this is also about, taking the time to kind of get things right, and you might still be in that energy here that we are dealing with connections. The card of the moon also crops up here. So I feel like the moon energy tells me that maybe there's a part of the path that maybe isn't quite clear yet, or you're still sort of entertaining something in the back of your mind that you haven't quite figured out yet. But either way, the moon card does sort of speak to, feeling like maybe this is it, maybe there's questions like, is this it? And it's really about kind of taking a look at some of the narratives and the things that you're saying to yourself at this time. But it feels like you want to slow things down. It feels like you want to take a bit of a retreat or a holiday or something like that. But right now, it's there's a couple of different stories here that I'm seeing for you, that kind of things that are balancing back and forth within your head. So I feel like this is still, you're still problem solving at this time, very successfully here with the Chariot card. I definitely feel like this is energy that's further out. So I feel like you're not in any major arcana energy in the month of January. You're still dealing with the same old, just trying to get through. But I do feel like there is success that is going to be drawn to you further out, because again, there's a process of the moon and then it goes to the Chariot. So I feel like the energy is moving in that direction, but it's not yet that you're fully focused yet. It feels like the movements are being made in this general direction, but there's not a lot of strong focus in the month of January that kind of pushes the direction to success yet. So that's why I say the Chariot card's a little further out. I do feel like you're just kind of getting through one task at a time is really what happens with that Eight of Pentacles, prioritizing what's necessary, what's, important. I feel like there could be a little bit of distraction going on there, but again, further out, probably past January, you get refocused again, and then you're back onto your goal path. But again, it's still that energy of trying to work through some of the fantasies or some of the imaginative things that you have going on in your head, because the moon is still in that energy of reflecting on something. So again, I feel like it's transmuting something, because it does reshape the light, it bends the light. I mean, this is things around, you're getting a snippet of one aspect of something, but not the full story. And so it does make it difficult to kind of charge ahead when you don't have everything with absolute clarity. But either way, it's still moving in the right direction. I feel like you have a few more face your fear moments yet to go through here in the month of January, and I do still feel like you're reflecting even on your intuition to sort of get you to those answers. But right now, I feel like you are more focused on your intuitive aspects before you kind of move underway into this Chariot energy. So right now, there's still a little bit of anxiety or anxiousness about moving in a career, maybe new career direction. It could very well be, because the Chariot can indicate some kind of a choice, but either way, there's something around that. Could also be dealing with a Cancer that's coming through there as well, water sign. But there's still something here that's not quite dealt with. Like there's still something that's kind of causing a little bit of emotional shadow in the background, face your fear sort of element. But again, you're still going hard at things with the Eight of Pentacles, still getting things done. Still, eights are all about, reevaluating and setting priorities. So I still feel like you're kind of organizing things out. in the month of January to sort of figure out what it is that you want around you, what you want to release, that kind of thing. Could be even doing some kind of a clear out of things, not just necessarily people or that kind of thing. It could be, just when I say clearing out, doesn't mean ending all relationships or anything. It just means, spending more time with yourself and kind of less energy on things that aren't working for your greater good. But the Eight of Pentacles, like I said, is still a card of putting in the work, still a lot of energy that's going into something. Definitely still feels like your focus is on kind of reorganizing things, paying attention to, bills or things that are coming in, and just working hard to get things, get the upper hand on things. So it's more of a confident energy just because you're putting in time, effort, steady effort, to get something done. So this is still, the money is coming through to complete things and get you onto the next track. The card of the Lovers with the Knight of Swords. So again, I just want to say with the with that Moon and the Eight of Pentacles energy, I mean, it is, even though the Eight of Pentacles is still that main card out, it is still sort of fears or doubts that are kind of hindering your progress. So again, you have to kind of face your fear head on, and then you'll be able to get through whatever it is that you're dealing with in the month of January. But there is still energy around staying the course, getting more mastery in a particular area of your life, organizing yourself, a lot more intuition yet to sort of help you succeed in your endeavors. But either way, there's a sense of you achieving mastery for that hard work, accomplishing something. So when we get to the Lovers and the Knight of Swords, this is again that combination of, some kind of harmonious, well, maybe not harmonious balance is really not quite the word, but the Knight of Swords is taking action in a particular direction. So I feel like it's kind of cutting through the details in a very direct way, specific boundaries around perhaps a connection, trying to balance out some of the maybe good and evil, or whatever you want to call evil, but polarities of, you know, dark matter and light matter, that kind of thing. But either way, there's some kind of swift change that's taking place within some kind of a connection, I would say. And it could be direct communication that is in pursuing a goal. But either way, there's some kind of direct communication that is quickly coming in here that is going to um, create some kind of a bit of a challenge maybe, but it's going to lead to ultimate happiness for you. So again, the Ten of Wands means there's been a lot of hardship, a lot of physical energy and time that's been put into something that has been draining, because you are looking for some form of, respite from all of that. But you are still making clear decisions, again, swift action, and it definitely speaks to some kind of clear-cut way of dealing with your emotional situation with someone else. So maybe there was something that was in conflict, but it ultimately is going to lead to, an end with that Ten of Wands. Something has been quite a hardship, quite a burden. You're transitioning into some kind of incredible happiness, whether you're going to be quite abundant in some way. It's going to make you very happy. So whatever it is, things are still moving in that direction. So again, it's a transition that's going to be a transition into your happiness. It's not right in that immediate energy of January, but it definitely speaks to moving in that direction. Ten of Wands, like I said, is still that energy of, this has been a heavy load to kind of push through, a lot of added pressures. Could be even sore throat, colds, anything along that line for some of you, but it definitely speaks to things along the line of completion with the Ten of Wands. So there is a level of completion here. Sorry, guys, I'm just unplugging my thing here because sometimes I think that interferes with the sound quality. But anyway, there is some level of completion of that heavy load, feeling like you've been doing it all. But even though you're in that energy, just know that those difficulties are amounting to something amazing. You've got two tens in here. So those two tens are pretty positive end cycles. But either way, I just feel like you're onto something incredible here following January. So either way, let's just keep moving forward here. And like I say, there's the fact that there's two tens here. There is a completion in around the hard work in one respect. That heavy load is coming to an end in some way. Um, but the situation in your life is also coming to some kind of natural conclusion or a natural end, is what that would be. So it's moving the relationship to the next level, or the end has impacted several or a couple of areas of your life at once, that are sort of finishing up. But ultimately, it leads to the Ten of Cups, which is, again, it's the ultimate happiness. So there is definitely some sense of the burden was worth it. The heavy energy brings you to a space now where you feel like you're, I don't want to say back in control because that's not really what, but you're elated with the result of whatever that final stage was. So it's just a really strong foundation when I see the Ten of Cups, and it definitely speaks to more of an enduring, permanent change, to complete happiness. There's more emotional harmony for all around you. High level of security and high level of fulfillment is what comes in with that card, where you feel safe, protected. That kind of energy there. There is also, again, even though there's a new sense of peace and well-being, the energy below here with the Four of Swords and the Eight of Cups still speaks to there being some times here where you just felt like you were extremely worn down. And I feel like you're ready for some kind of journey, possibly elsewhere, or you're maybe even thinking of a holiday. I don't know. But there's something here, and it could be by water if that's the case. But it definitely still speaks to some sense of I need to pull back, and I need to kind of let be what will be, and remove myself from anything that has been burdensome in some way. Because, like I say, you're walking away from the Eight of Cups, or at least, but you're still drinking from one. So there's still something that you have an emotional attachment to, but you're okay moving ahead in a more fulfilling way. But there's a pause, there's a sense of rest, or some kind of again, just sort of taking a break from whatever the situation is. And I feel like it's maybe to reevaluate your goals or how you want to move forward so you can align that with what's important here. But either way, this still speaks to, being detached from the things that aren't, and it doesn't mean you're cutting everything out, it just means you're detached. You're just pulling away from the things. You won't invest your time into things that are not happier circumstances, or things that are not useful to the overall benefit of your mind or your emotions. The fact that we have another 10 in here, actually, so that's actually three tens in the reading. So that is a little bit more impactful. Because again, three tens is endings and beginnings, but it's coming to an end faster than you expected. And it could be just in a matter of months. So not necessarily in the month of January, but something is coming to an end faster within a matter of months in that case. We also have the Five of Pentacles. So there's a sense of feeling some insecurity around that change, possibly. The Five of Pentacles does sort of speak to feeling that emotionally you've been abandoned or something like that, where there hasn't been, there's been a sense of lack or impoverishment. Insecurity comes up with this. It kind of speaks to a lot of different things, feeling unloved, abandoned, things like that. Something feels destabilized, even though it's going to end in a more positive way, but it's still something that is, you have to deal with, right? So it's still something needs attention in terms of your inner core and how you focus on yourself. And even though there is a bit of a temporary hardship and insecurity that is kind of mounting here, it's not the main energy, but again, there's so much energy about a completion or an end that is arriving in months following. There is some changes that have to take place with that. So you have to really evaluate how to get yourself out of this feeling, this mindset of insecurity and that kind of thing. But there is something that is a bit of worry here for you, because we've got 3 tens as well as the 5 of Pentacles. But again, it does still end with independence, maybe feeling a little bit alone, but not only independence, but ultimate happiness for the whole of the situation. So maybe things are not, it may be ending in the old cycle in the way something was. And actually, sorry, that's 4 tens. Yeah. So it might be painful at first, but it's actually moving you to something that's more amazing. Again, 9 of Pentacles is, it's going to be lucrative, it's going to be independence, it's going to be something where you can rely on yourself. It's not all coming in the month of January, but that's where it's headed, because these are the further out clarifiers. But it's where you can, claim independence. This is, again, feeling protected, like you've got resources. You are a lot more about beautifying your surroundings, this kind of thing here. And I just feel like everything is going to be a little bit more smooth sailing. There could be something in around purchasing real estate or something like that, or redecorating, but everything that you're touching is going to be in a more positive way here. Vast improvement over time, not in January, because again, these are just clarifiers further out, and there were quite a few before it got to that card, but that inevitably is where things are headed. So some kind of dream or something is manifesting here, and it does figure very prominently in your near future, Polly. I would say in the next 5 to 6 months. But it's a bit of a process, because you're still in the cycle of getting through. The 4 tens does speak to just tying up loose ends in the month of January. And again, you're tired, you're worn out. It's been a lot of challenges here. And it definitely speaks to something around a connection that has been there, where there's going to be direct communication, but you're still working hard and you still have some insecurities to kind of work through here. But again, there's still really good energy around connections are still, the connection with the Lovers card. Like I said, I'm just looking at that one again with the Swords energy there, because it is a very powerful card. Of course, it can be about making a decision as well, but there's some kind of adjustment there. Some kind of an adjustment with the Lover's card and that Knight of Swords. There's action being taken. And it's like you're really focused on a life purpose for some of you, where there's a lot of like it's a true path for you. There's a driving force that is helping you to focus on what's important. And it's really important now. It's almost like it's really, really important. Whatever this card is, whatever this connection is, it's really important to take quick action with something. But again, it's all very positive, and it's kind of restarting in some way, even though it's like a blessing in disguise. So on the surface, it's kind of appearing negative, but it's going to be a blessing in disguise. So again, there's something around cooperation. There's something around cooperation, I believe, is part of this. And again, with that Knight of Swords, the action that's coming in still speaks to something direct with communication, but for sure it's got a persevering energy, really wanting to conquer something in its way, really wanting to get focused and make a point and deal with things logically, get things in writing. But there's a lot of ideas being exchanged here. There's a reason to be swift with it as well. But I feel like it's going to pay off in a big way, and because of all those cards further out. So I feel like you're trying to maybe seize control of something before, to make sure that it moves in a particular direction so it's positive. But either way, I would still say that this is pretty positive, although again, it's still not clear on how it'll really unfold yet, although there's a lot of the tying up of loose ends in the month of January for things to further unfold or to unfold further out. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. And that's January 2024. We'll do some other reads with advice cards, etc. Keep moving forward and never give up.